You're listening to What's in Store, the official Hardlines podcast series, bringing you the hottest conversations with players in the home improvement retail industry, and brought to you by Geldwin.
Welcome to our latest podcast. My name is Rebecca Dumais. I'm the editor of HHIQ magazine, and today we're chatting with Jason Tasse of Lee Valley Tools, and we're going to be chatting about the new Pickering location. Jason, thank you very much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Nice to have you. So maybe you can tell us what inspired the new location in terms of design and layout, and maybe being like the largest and most concentrated in-store product displays of this location.
We firmly believe in physical retail. That's statement number one.
Mm-hmm.
There's, we're in the tool business, so getting your hands on tools to validate your purchase is, a critical step in the purchase journey, despite the fact that most people start online.
Mm-hmm.
The location in Pickering is we've been looking, for quite some time actually for the East Side GTA, and this opportunity came up, and we love the location because of its visibility. It's right on the 401. Get a couple 100,000 cars driving by every day, so it's
right.
One of our most effective billboards, I guess you could say.
Yes.
The inspiration and the design, well, we believe that there's no one set store of the future, that it's a constant iterative journey. And we, from time to time, get an injection of external help. And we were working with a firm recently on, really trying to improve the in-store experience. And we landed on two really critical concepts. One is that as people are either interested in hobby and craft and looking to get started, or about to begin a project and need a tool, we really wanted to bring to life Lee Valley's curated approach of product, but at the same time provide more self-serve information around product. So as opposed to like very transactionally just putting product on shelves, our emphasis was on education, so that it really complemented our technically strong employees at the same time. But sometimes people we found through research are shy, they don't want to go ask. So much like you would visit, for some of us that have visited museums in our youth,
Right.
You could spend hours just learning and reading about product. And the idea was, much like a museum has, a curated selection of storytells, is to really amplify our storytell in our products. And because so much of our product line, like sharpening, for example, or finishing, or the Veritas tool line, we wanted to help our consumers with self-serve product knowledge, so that even if they walked out without a purchase, they walked out learning something. So that was, critical element one, is to continue to amplify and do a much better job with self-serve technical knowledge. The second was discovery. We, as we're all trying to reinvent what the store's role is in today's very integrated kind of omni environment, is, we've heard brand expression, we've heard, for us, the focus is a social space, where people who have common passions can come together and talk about their projects. So, we want to make it very inviting. We've always been a place to go and talk about your current project, or maybe a challenge that you're dealing with, or a skill you want to acquire. So the second area of amplification is, the social space itself. And one example of that is taking our seminar rooms and workshops that we had buried historically in the past behind closed doors, and having flex space and doing it right on the floor. So, you could be turning, we could be doing plain sharpening demonstrations. So rich storytelling and more social space.
Excellent. Then, was there any kind of customer feedback or browsing behavior that also shaped the outcome?
We are firm believers in constant communication with our customers, and one of the most important things we've done, in recent years, is a significant survey on the 6 stages of shopping at Lee Valley Tools, and we surveyed a couple thousand customers, and we were able to identify, the moments of joy and delight in our stores, and really focused on those. And then we also identified friction points, where it was a little challenging, and we wanted to address some of those. Moments of delight are always the discovery, as they're kind of touring around the store and they find products for, as our customers say often to us, this is a problem I've been living with that you're helping me solve. I didn't know. I'm a little confused on how to shop because our, shopping experience is been fairly unique with a showroom in the front and then the back room for the product. And so we've been moving a lot of product to the front as part of the engagement in the social space.
Okay, perfect. And so as far as growth, I mean, it's been over 40 years, and with the new location, how has the company's identity evolved, or particularly balancing online presence with maybe experimental retail or anything like that?
Great question. Well, so we don't believe in one channel dominant over another. Really, our strategy is to deliver the Lee Valley brand consistently across all channels. And as a specialty retailer with, a strong technical competency, it's difficult to do because, online expresses one way, in stores another. So when it comes to, we're really trying to focus on integrating so that the experience is similar and it meets the expectations of our customers. Physical retail itself is, we're going to continue to expand. We started a pop-up initiative 3 years ago. We started with our first experimental store. Last year we opened 4, and this year we aspire to open 10, across Canada. So really it's a brand awareness. We're trying to introduce Lee Valley tools to, a broader audience. What's fundamentally changed is through our research, we recognized we can do a better job being at the early stages of, people's research. So if, people have an interest in starting in hobby and craft, is that we want to be the go-to resource for people. So we put a lot of creative content digitally out, socially, and we're trying to make the brand more visible physically at the same time.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything that's caught your eye with this now in Pickering that you're like, okay, we immediately must input this in some of the other locations, or is that maybe like a rollout in some way? Or
it's always been our belief, because as we said, there's no set store of the future, that it's a constant journey. Any really strong winning concepts we will roll back to our other stores. One, for example, is Veritas. So as a Canadian family-owned business, we manufacture right here in Canada, which we're quite proud of. And Veritas is our own product line of hand tools, predominantly marking, measuring, planes, chisels, and saws. The learning was to do a better job telling the brand story. So we put a very strong anchor display that is one of the key feature displays in our stores. And we've been rolling that back across all of our other stores because it is, as we see, one of our greatest competitive advantages, but at the same time, it's what makes us distinct. And what's fascinating about it is it's very tactile, so it's inviting. You get to actually, all the planes are presented in a way that you can pick them up and check them out, put them in your hand. So really focusing on, that tool validation, that purchase validation. And we have an interactive bench in front of it. So we have an employee. So it's a little bit of theater, they get to try the product. And in the past, we used to put these things behind glass. And the learning through research, once again, was our belief was, well, customers will ask to see it. But we found out customers are like, well, everybody's busy. I don't think I want to, interrupt. So we're really trying to make it easy and more engaging and tell a broader brand story.
Right, perfect. Now, has that changed in any way in terms of retail theft, or what are your thoughts around that then, if that was a conscious decision to move it from a certain point to now it's more tactile, like you're saying?
Loss prevention is always a concern in shrinkage. We're fortunate because we're in the hobby space. Our customers, it's just not as much a risk for us. But yes, we had to get out of our own way a little bit, putting out the jewelry out so that people can, play
Right.
with it and pick it up. But we haven't seen, anything of significance that we're worried about. And we find that the displays are far more engaging as we are observing our customers. And unlike the museum, we've taken the glass down so people
Yeah.
can play with the
Right.
product. Yeah.
Because while somebody might walk into the store and know immediately what they want, they might come out and it's like, oh, maybe I'll try this instead, or it gives them more chance to experience other or buy other products as well, I would imagine, right?
I referenced the term purchase validation before, and this was, through one of our many design discussions is, what is the role of the store today? And because customers often start with an idea, check online, go to social groups, check interest areas, and then you do your own independent research to develop a perception.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're buying a tool you're going to hold in your hands. And what we find is customers will come in, pick it up, want to talk to somebody, and they'll want to validate all the research prior to their purchase. So it's this critical step of physical retail.
Hmm. Hmm. And as far as challenges for retail, having something that maybe that they couldn't get online or in a smaller store. So, do you have any exclusive features in the store or any of your stores that it's not replicated digitally?
Well, number one is our people. Like they're spectacular. And, you know, as I say, we can add all the bells and whistles and technology we want, but it's the conversation with one of our Lee Valley employees that is the single most important. And it's important to us that there's a shared passion.
Right.
Um, None of our employees are on commission, so they're not there to push sales unnecessarily.
Mhm.
Rob and Lee are our CEO, and we do fireside chats with our store managers, and we reinforce all the time. Trust is far more important than the sale. So that's hard to replicate online. Is
Mhm.
the ever-present Lee Valley employee.
Right.
The other one that we do in the stores is workshops, demos, and drop-ins. So like come in and learn a skill, learn how to turn a pen, carve a spoon, be there with somebody to walk you through it. Psychologically, as we get older, we get a little guarded around, putting ourselves out there, stretching ourselves and doing something new. So being
Mhm.
guided through it and having somebody show you how to do a project that you could pick up in a weekend
Mhm.
facilitated helps everybody get over that initial concern they may have. So,
Right.
that's tough to do online as well. We did try, a lot of live webinars and things. It's not the same as, a conversation, first person being there and doing it physically.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. And as great as AI is, it's not the same. Like you're saying, is going in and having that chat and that tactile um,
Well, well,
exchange.
I always think of, remember back in COVID when everybody was cutting each other's hair?
Yeah.
Uh, you could use AI or YouTube on how to cut hair, but like it just
Right.
never looks quite the same until you've done it probably a dozen times.
Hmm.
Very similar, to woodworking. The benefit of woodworking is with each attempt, you learn a new tip, and often some of it is through making mistakes. So having a guided discussion and reassured comfort that, this is part of the process. It's a journey.
Right. Okay. Excellent. And so also when building a new storefront, obviously there's new operational and staffing demands. Can you share as far as maybe how many staff you were able to hire, or the different kinds of roles that you were able to create, and maybe what kind of training has been delivered?
Well, in today's very difficult environment, with political and policy change and uncertainty. We're extremely proud to be opening a store. The general consensus among most businesses is just wait and see, right? So for us to, find the location and open a store during all of this uncertainty, we're quite proud of. In addition to that, we believe strongly on being a strong Canadian brand and helping build our own economy at the same time. So we've been able to create 25 positions in the Pickering area, and that's from store manager to assistant manager. In addition to that, we had, I think it's 2 or 3 employees that used to work at one of our former stores that have re-engaged. So that's wonderful. They hit the ground running. And the rest are all new employees. So we're 25. 25 is the number.
Mhm.
And what we look for are people who have proficiency in, one of our categories, so woodworking or gardening or kitchen, and then people who aspire to learn and who have the same enthusiasm, and then one of the things that Lee Valley does that, again, we're quite proud of is we have a woodworking technical team that supports the entire organization that helps train all of our 1,000 employees on the skills and hobbies that we work on. So whether you're doing art direction for our catalogs or digital, or you're serving customers in our new Pickering Ridge store, is we have a pretty robust and intentional training program, at our core activities. And we actually call it a corporate service, much like in traditional businesses, you have IT
Yes.
or, people and culture. We
Right.
actually have a woodworking technical tool team that's on call and demand for the entire organization.
Oh, excellent. How much involvement do you get to have in that particular aspect?
In the store or in the technical tool team?
Yeah, or just the training alongside people, the learning how to, or they're refining their tools, or you getting the experience to do what they do on the floor, or creating tools and or making something, or
Absolutely. I'm booked with one of our team in, I think it's 3 weeks, and I'll be turning 4 more pens. This is one that I turned with our
nice.
advisory board. We offer MIY kits, make it yourself kits, to help people get started in hobby and craft. And I actually get to be the alpha tester on those. So I often take them home, work through the troubleshooting of the kits and see how they do. For me, the woodworking technical tool team is directly below me, so they're an incredible resource. And most recently, we went through the history of hand planes together. So
Okay.
yeah, it's we're all quite active in it. Our marketing department had a team building session down there, and they all built traditional wooden toolboxes together.
Yeah. So I guess, do you find it, obviously it's important to the Lee Valley core, but is it kind of turned into a hobby for you in a little bit of a way, being able to do these types of things in addition to your actual role?
We firmly believe you have got to be connected to the product, and the product and our customer you have to understand. So you got to roll up your sleeves and get behind a lathe, or pick up a spoon blank and start carving a few tools. Because if you're going to merchandise, write copy and tell, we have to preserve, the technical position that we've created. As an organization, we're in our 48th year and we're going through a generational transformation. So a lot of our OGs, originals, are now going on to well-deserved retirements. And we have an incredible generation of young, enthusiastic employees. Some of them now digital natives, that didn't maybe take the same analog skills in school around shop. So we're taking
Mhm.
it upon ourselves to ensure that we're again, intentionally trying to connect all of our employees and our new generation of staff to the hobby and craft that we promote.
Nice, perfect. And as far as designing something to inspire creativity, encourage hands-on interaction with Lee Valley Tools, can you share any kind of stories or a customer interaction or a product presentation um, that shows that in action?
Well, if you are in my office with me today, I am surrounded by all kinds of reminders and hobbies and crafts. I have a carved mask from one of our very skilled employees in Vancouver. I have a clipboard that Leonard Lee himself made for me years and years ago. I'm staring at a Veritas serving tray board that was done by our VP of manufacturing. And I have a woodworking sign across my window that was done by our director of data and analytics with the woodworking technical tool team. it's a fun one because at the front it says currently working on woodworking, and on the back it says currently laying the lumber, because I coach lacrosse, so he gave it to me so I could flip it around.
Okay.
And then yeah, so I have a beautiful pen that was turned by one of our Halifax employees, and a ball that was turned from our previous downtown Toronto store, Timber. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Good. Nice reminders for sure.
Reminders are very talented employees.
Yes, perfect. And looking ahead, do you see the role of this particular store, more of this type, maybe more uniquely positioned, and maybe how you might be measuring success for this store beyond revenue, maybe brand perception or customer engagement or more creative inspiration?
Uh, Engagement has been, the real key focus for the stores as we go forward. Engagement over transaction. So, of course, people come in because they have a project need, and we want to certainly support those needs. But really, what we're looking for is to help people get started, to help people through their current projects. So the stores are fundamentally built on this level of engagement that we can only deliver, in the first person in a store. Of course, it falls to all the current core metrics that a store would. But as I said, we've never been one to be about profit optimization. It's really, we want to play the long game and build trust with our customers. And again, we aspire to be the place to go if you want to get started in hobby and craft, and be a referral of a current customer to a new customer.
Perfect. And then lastly, if you wanted to touch on store sales versus online sales, or is it just are they too interconnected, or is it something that's more seamless, or how would you like to describe that?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, attribution is tricky.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned, through our research, we've identified the 6 core stages of shopping, and the first is inspiration and then research. So do we attribute that to a printed catalog? Do we attribute that to a social spot? Do we attribute that to an email, a content piece? Difficult to do. So yes, we track click-through rates. There's a nice direct line there, but we don't know what brought the customer into the store. So traditionally, we're still structured with channel sales tracking, but attribution and influence, we just look at it as one brand experience, and it's fully integrated. While we are excited to open our store in Pickering Ridge, it's been a long road, to find the right location. And we would invite everybody to come and see and check it out. And of course, as always, would love their feedback, on how we can continue to evolve and drive engagement in our stores.
Thank you so much, Jason. That was great learning about the location and the strategy and everything that Lee Valley is doing so well. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thanks for having us.
Thank you.